And we have a clarifying card from the romance angels. And so here it goes again back to that death card. You've been forgiving and learning. I'll move it a little bit closer. Forgiving and learning. And so it says, as you release and heal the past, you experience more love in your present moments. And so, like I said, it relates back to that death card. So you've been letting go. So you heal and then let go. You've basically come to this knowledge of saying, oh, I know why that pattern happened. I know why I was in that relationship with so and so, and I know that I don't want that anymore. I know me, or I'm learning me, and I know what it is that I want in order to be able to move forward. So I'm going to end some things, get rid of those negative emotions, and in order to have the love that I want. So there is that part where you experience more love in your present moments. Okay. This is the strength card. And it's really kind of important for you to know, Aquarius, is that Venus is going to be kind of high, when we go into this year. So I think it's around like January 9th, the Venus, and we all know Venus is all about love and everything else like that. So she's going to be, eclipse around, the end of the month, which will be Aquarian time. And, it will also be a blue moon. So a lot of energy, a lot of, moving forward, and really deciding and having, the potential to get what it is that you want. Okay. And so what you have emerging, if it hasn't, of course, already emerged. So this is you forgiving. This is you having tamed that beast. So back over there to the death card where you understand, okay, I understand my karmic patterns and I'm not going to repeat them. I understand, this bad relationship and I'm not going to repeat it in the new relationship or in this connection that you have with someone. You've basically tamed that beast. And so you're coming from this incredibly loving place where it's not like an assertive like taming. This is a very gentle, very loving, kind, place where you're taming the beast within inside. So you're trusting, yourself to love not only yourself but also the other person. So you're breeding more cooperation in the relationship, and so there is kind of like an expansion between the two of you, a grounding, an opening up of love between the two of you. And so you start to kind of develop this just gentle strength within yourself and allow yourself to kind of be this, I'm getting the person's rock and the rock of the relationship, emotionally, actually just kind of like everything, because you come from such a pure place, the other person kind of responds. And I don't know about you guys, but I've been seeing a lot of 13s and 8s everywhere. 13, it can be one of those like master numbers where you're not going to break it down. And so you just kind of keep it together, or it could be that changing of cycle, or you could break it down to with 1 with the new beginning, and 3 and taking that action and working with the divine. But I also pulled a clarifier. Sorry about that side note. But I also pulled a clarifier for the strength card. And what I have here is love yourself first. Your self-respect makes you more romantically attractive. So see, again, back what I was talking about before, is that you figure out a way to kind of balance that energy. You've healed all that stuff in the past. You let go of negative emotions that didn't serve you, because you found out a way how to love yourself. And we all know, in loving yourself, you attract those who love you, And when you do sometimes attract those people who don't, you know how to say, you know what? I know that it is that you don't love me. And so, or you're not going to love me the way that I want you to love me. And so you just, kind of release them and go, hey, it's okay. I'm good. I'll be okay without you. And then in turn, you'll be able to track that happy, healthy relationship where there is that cooperation, when there is that kind of back and forth that you would get out of having a soulmate, where there is that unconditional love because you have unconditional love for yourself. And so what we have next is the Empress, and she's the future energy that you can be experiencing. And I'll move it back just a little bit. And we all know the Empress, she is love. She's balanced everywhere. Emotionally, she has that grounding. She has that overabundance of just kind of everything, but she knows how to deal with it. She's sensual. She comes from, of course, a pure heart. But she's successful, especially in love, because she has all this balancing going on, because she's able to nurture and care for the other person. And so that's what you're going to get back. In this relationship is kind of, you give out this nurturing vibe that started over here with that strength card. And so you'll have that success that you wanted in love, and you'll be able to have your heart open and not be worrying about, well, I'm being a little too vulnerable. I can't be vulnerable like that, because we Aquarians can sometimes be like, I'm not going to let you see my emotions, because then you might do something to hurt me, and then I'm going to have to cut you. Okay. And so you've basically kind of moved past that energy, a little bit. And so you have allowed yourself to be vulnerable with this other person. And in there, you've gotten the success, in love. And so we have the clarifying card here, and that is wedding. The situation involves marriage. So this could be, because you're having success in love, this could be a deepening of a commitment. Doesn't necessarily always have to involve marriage. But if that's what you were going for, marriage, that card shows up to tell you that, yes, you could be getting married, or you could realize that this is the person that you want to marry, and you can have that success in love because you have your heart open, because you have the emotional stability. You know when to be, evolved emotionally, and what emotions to come out, so that it's not like, all that negative emotion kind of that comes out sometimes, with Aquarians, when we feel like we might be rejected, or we feel like things could be going wrong. We're just in a space to be like, you know what? I'm okay to be vulnerable. And there is a strength in me being vulnerable. And I can love the way that I want to love because I love me. I know I'm not going to make the wrong decision in my love life for me. And so what the divine is offering you as far as aces, and aces are all about, new beginnings, what the divine is offering. And so first one I want to look at is the Ace of Swords. So this is like mental clarity. This is success that we're talking back over there with the Empress. But this, has come after much adversity. This is come after, cutting away and getting rid of stuff that, just wasn't for you, which again goes back to that death card energy, back to that forgiving and learning. So you've had all that in the past, and now you're able to have this victory. Now you're able to have this clarity about yourself and about what you want in this relationship. And so we also have the little fire symbols down there, which relate back to the Six of Wands. So again, victory and success, possibly having the man or woman of your dreams, which could lead to the reason why you go get married, or possibly have a deepening of a committed relationship. Okay. And then the other, ace that shows up is Ace of Pentacles, and Ace of Pentacles talks about, the past, all those past difficulties, again, just getting, that stuff kind of fading away, and you having a fresh new start with this person or with somebody new coming in. And there's a lot of grounded energy. Again, you have your heart open. You're because there is such innocence, there's such understanding, there's so much love here, that it's able to create this stability. Again, back to that strength card. And so the two of you kind of create this new, can create something new as far as relationship, which could be the marriage, okay, or deep commitment. Now, as far as the energies that evolve within the couple in the relationship, I pulled out the court cards, and so I have here a Queen of Swords and the Queen of Wands. And so just so everybody, gets reminded that even though we have two queen cards here, the court cards are sexless. So, it just means that somebody's taking on the energies of that court card. Okay, so we have here, of course, first the Queen of Swords, and this is you, my dear Aquarians, because we're talking about it always representing those air signs. So Aquarian, Libra, Gemini. So this message is pretty strong here for you, with you guys showing up in your own court. With your own court card showing up in this reading, okay? And so this reminds you, to not detach from your feelings, to, yes, always gain the truth, but remember not to be so bluntly, and to remember all the things that you have done to get, to this point in order to experience the love, and that you have, an emotional depth that is okay to kind of come out. Now, why I say it's okay to come out is not only based upon the Strength and the Empress cards and the Love Yourself First. It's also, this is a Queen of Wands, which typically means that it can represent a fire sign, which would be Sagittarius, Leo, or Aries. And we all know what happens with fire and air. Air fuels fire. Air likes that level of freedom, and so does fire. And so even though the two of you might not be of the same element, you get each other, you completely complement each other, and as an air sign, you're able to allow that fire sign to go higher, because again, they are going to be hard to pigeonhole if they're taking on this fire sign energy. But there is such a deep connection, especially a spiritual one, when this card comes up, that, you'll be okay, that they are going to go out there and do whatever that they do, because, you're doing the same thing. But again, like I said, back to the communication that shows up with the Queen of Swords, that shows up with the Ace of Wands, is to make sure that you have clean communication between the two of you. Where you're like, look, fire sign or person who has a fire sign energy, I need some one-on-one time with you, because it's important to me. And so you're able to just speak out in a way that's loving and gentle and kind in order to get your needs met. And not that, you're taking time away from them. You just, know what it is that you need and should be getting out of relationship. It should be reciprocal. Okay. And so again, the person could just be, they could be those signs, or they could just be taking on that energy